Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. Topic for today's discussion is a cycle of sacrifice, and we'll jump right into our topic for today: cycle of sacrifice. Uh, Cycle means chakra. Chakra is a cyclical event that happens, and we'll understand from the verse that we will be discussing today how the cycle of sacrifice is functional, how it has been established, and how it is functional. But before that, let's take a look back at where we are in our systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, BGSSC, Bhagavad Gita systematic study, where we are. Where we are in the middle of where we started, initiated the discussion on chapter 3, and prior to that, we discuss chapter 1 and chapter 2 in detail. And today, also in the earlier at 10:30, we chanted some of the verses from chapter 1, especially the end, the last few verses where Arjuna is explaining to Krishna why he doesn't want to fight. Some of those beautiful verses we chanted today. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani cha kesham. I came to the battlefield thinking of something, that something I was expecting something, and then viparit uske ulta ho raha hai. I am now no longer wanting to fight. I have no desire to fight. I don't want to win. I don't want to rule. I don't want to kill my brothers. I don't want to kill my friends and my elders. So I don't know what's happening with me. I don't know why I have lost all my composure due to the weakness of mind. And in that situation, he's saying, I'm not able to decide what is right, what is wrong. How can I kill? How can I kill my elders? How can I kill my brothers? How can I kill my friends? How can I kill so many innocent people who have assembled here? And what will happen? What will be the consequences of that mass killing? And I will become responsible for all of that, because for my lust for ruling a kingdom, I ended up killing so many people, and I will become responsible for this. So is this all really worth it? The children, the women, they all will become unprotected. With them being unprotected, there will be unwanted progeny that will happen, that will get created, and they will stop the dharmic kriya of offering pindodaka kriya, offering food and water to the for the departed soul, and because of this, they will all rot in hell forever, and I will become responsible for all of this. Is this war really worth it? I'm not able to decide. I don't know if getting killed um, without any arm. I may just walk in front of those putra, the brother, the sons of Dhritarashtra, and they will simply kill me, and then that will be end of it. Why will I not do that? Why should I not do that rather than engage in this ghora karma of killing so many people? And then Krishna speak about the Atma Tattva. Atma Tattva starting from chapter 2, verse 11 and 12, where he start explaining Arjuna the that you are not the body or spirit soul, and as a soul you cannot be killed. You cannot kill any one of them. All of these kings, they are soul forever. Their soul is their real identity. They have a temporary material body, and this body is anyway not permanent. Even if we'll not kill them today, they will eventually get killed. So, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, why are you getting bewildered? Why are you lamenting for something which is not worth lamenting? This body is made up of pancha tattva, pancha mahabhuta, and that will be lost anyway. Na hanyate hanyash mane sharire. But that the real identity of that person, which is spirit soul, will never be killed. So why are you worried? And so that, like that, the instruction instruction started. Lord Krishna take the position of a guru and start giving instruction to Arjuna, and speaks elaborately in chapter 2, explaining the concept of soul, the real identity of all the living entities. And the question is, tell me for certain what is a Shreya, what is best for me. And hence, knowing I'm spirit soul is not end of it. I should know how should I act with this knowledge. Now, this Atma Tattva is not sufficient. Atma Tattva, with we should know how to act with the knowledge of Atma Tattva. And then that action can be performed at various levels. Action can be performed for the want of prosperity and superior quality of enjoyment. And action can be performed by by rejecting all the rules and regulations, and thereby creating consequences, horrible consequences for us at later stage. Action can be performed in the nishkam karma yoga way as well. And so there Krishna has started explaining various ways in which action can be performed. And then in the karmanya adhikaraste verse, he says that you are not in control of your actions anyway. The results, whatever you are in control of your actions, but the results are not in your control, because somebody else contribute to your results, whatever you get. And basis what they contribute will be explained later in Bhagavad Gita. But suffice it to say that you are not in full control of your life, and hence you should act for the sake of acting. You should act for performing your duty. Sakha dukhe samekrutva labha labho jaya jaya. By treating everything equally, just do your duty, and if you do that way, then you will not incur sin. And then Krishna explains that Nirmal and the Nishkam Karma Yoga, and how a Nishkam Karma Yogi is able to control his mind and stay focused, not get bewildered by ups and downs that he faces in the life. And he understands that both up and as well as down are being caused by the mercy of Lord. And with this knowledge, he remains steady in all situations, does not get agitated when something goes wrong, and does not get elated when something goes nice right for him. And so Arjuna, Krishna referred to that person as a Sthita Pragya. And then Arjuna asked a question that Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. That how do I recognize this person? What are the general symptoms of this person? How does he speak? How does he control, restrict his senses when surrounded by tempting situations, tempting objects, and how does he act in the world? So that and so that I can learn from this person and become like him, because you don't consider me to be at that level right now, and that therefore you are explaining to me how this person is. So tell me more about this person. And then Krishna elaborates about this Sthita Pragya, Sthita Dhirmuni, the person whose mind is in his control, who is able to control his mind and senses, and direct his activities for achieving the ultimate goal. And so that such person, when perform activities in such a way, if he can perform throughout his life and towards the end of life also, if he can remain in that kind same consciousness, he becomes eligible to go back to the kingdom of God, back to Godhead. And that is how this person is transcendentally situated. Even while acting in this world, he is transcendentally situated. He doesn't get affected by the by the difficulties that are available in the material world for everyone. And so that person is what Arjuna you should become, is the advice. And then Arjuna is wondering whether yes, I have stopped. I'll now share the screen. I'm now wondering that is what is the instruction for me? If I have to control my mind, I have to meditate. I have to become mendicant. I have to probably go to the forest, leave my palace, go to the forest, sit in a posture, concentrate my mind एकाग्र करके, नासिकाग्र पे एकाग्र करके, I have to meditate maybe for 100 years, maybe for 1,000 years, and then I will gain control over my mind, and then I will be able to become Sthita Pragya Muni that Krishna wants me to become. If I have to do that, then what am I doing on the battlefield? I am right now on the battlefield surrounded by all the warriors. Everyone is waiting for me to start the war. The conscience have been blown. All both the armies are facing each other. They're just waiting as an etiquette because I am talking with Krishna in the middle of two armies. Te senayor ubhayor madhye. I'm I have drawn my I have asked my chariot driver Lord Krishna to take chariot in between two armies, and I'm talking with him, and that's the only reason why everyone is waiting for me to finish my conversation with Krishna and go back to my camp, and then the war can actually begin. So if this is where I am, and so this is where I am, and this is what I have to do, then why am I here? What am I doing here? And why am I trying to? I'm still wearing this armor and have this Gandiva with me. What is the right? What Krishna is not asking me to leave the battlefield, but he's preaching me. He's asking me to do something which has got nothing to do with the battlefield. So Arjuna is again confused, and then he speaks these beautiful verses that, "Oh Janardana, oh Keshava, if you want, why you then want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? Tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava." That why you think, if you think intelligence is better than the fruitive work, then why are you engaging me in this ghora karma, ghastly warfare? And so my intelligence is bewildered. Vyami shreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me. Tad ekam vadu nishchitya yena shoya hamapnumyam. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial to me. So he's still asking Krishna what to do. So what was asked in the seventh verse of second chapter, that karpanya dosha pahata svabhava pruchhami tvam dharma samudha cheta. What am I asking? I'm asking you, pruchhami tvam dharma samudha cheta, about my dharma, about my duty. What should I do in the bewildered state of mind? Dharma samudha cheta. Samudha cheta means bewildered state of mind. I'm asking you, what should I do? What is my dharma? What is my duty in current situation? What is my duty? And so Arjuna is again asking the same question, that Krishna, whatever you spoke has confused me more. Rather than clarifying, you have increased my confusion. And therefore, please tell me exactly what am I supposed to do. What I understand is I'm not supposed to engage in this warfare, but please clarify this doubt. And then Arjuna is thinking, Arjuna, if I'm attached to the kingdom, attached to the opulence, bhoga and aishwarya, both comes with the kingdom. And so if I'm attached to all of that, I will fight. And if I'm not attached to this, I will go to the forest. Krishna saying, well, yes and no. Things are not that simple, Arjuna. Let me complicate them a little bit, because human beings operate or don't operate with such a simple mind. Our minds are far more complex than what they say from the above. So Krishna says it's true that that with attachment, in your instinctive reaction will be to act. If you want something, you will. If you want opulence, if you want to enjoy nice life, you will want to work hard and party harder. Work hard, party harder. So there's a desire for enjoyment, and to get that enjoyment, one has to get sufficient resources, and for that one has to work hard, party harder. That a lot of people live with this motto in life. So the people, those who are attached to the enjoyment, sense enjoyment, they will most of them will be working. But Krishna says not all of them will be working, because some of them will be very lazy, lazy to work. And what will they do? They will renounce. They will put up a show of renunciation, saying that, oh, I have renounced. They will wear saffron. But inside their heart, they will cultivate desire for enjoyment. The first type of people who are very open and bold in saying that I want to enjoy my life. And therefore, in order to get the resources, I need money. I need facility for enjoyment, and I have to work hard for that. I have to earn a lot of money and spend a lot of money. So these people are at least transparent in their dealings. They are open in their dealings. But there are people who conceal their desires, and they put up a show of renunciation, but inside their heart they continue to cultivate those desires. So Krishna is saying a human psyche is not that simple. Similarly, there can be people, and we will discuss about these people in chapter 4 and 5 later, that who could be attached, who could be detached, but they will be seen as acting in the world. And the same people, so their action and their renunciation both are same, because they are never attached to the fruits of their action. They are not attached to the sense enjoyment. But those who are attached, even they have. There will be some people who will act. There will be some people who will renounce. So things are not all that simple, oh Arjuna. Krishna is saying not merely by abstaining from the world, abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwell on sense objects, certainly delude himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the actions, tries to control active senses by mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is far superior. 3.7 translation. What Krishna is saying is basically you're 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 rushing for renunciation. You're rushing to become a sannyasi, and because you think sannyasis have no attachment to the sense gratification. Well, that is true. That is yes, and that is no. Some people will will become sannyasi so that the sense gratification comes easily. People give donation, people come and surrender to them. They can misuse, abuse people, all kind of wrong things they can do under the garb of wearing a saffron or wearing a particular dress of a sannyasi or a renunciate. So because those these kind of people naturally get respect from the society, and uh, getting such a respect from innocent people, one can exploit them for their selfish purposes. So all kind of people are there in the world. So those people, so the renunciates, the change of external dress or is necessary, or even for devotees that there's a change of external dress is necessary, but the change of internal consciousness is more important. If both happens, the number one situation is where both has happened. A devotee is has changed his consciousness also, internal consciousness also, and he's wearing dress, he's dressing like a devotee as well. Now this is the best case scenario. If this is most desirable scenario, if this is not there, at least number two should exist. Should be a change of external dress, because dress put restrictions on some of our actions. We can't do certain things in public if we are wearing a particular dress, and hence a dress is important. But there should be sincere effort to change our internal consciousness. That should also exist. So if you are trying to dress like a devotee, and in your heart you are still trying to cultivate the unwanted desires of breaking the four regulatory principles, that's not good. That is not good. So one may not have perfected this, but at least one should sincerely try to change the internal consciousness, purify oneself, become pure devotee. restrict, avoid doing actions which are not required to be done, and perform those actions which are supposed to be performed. So there is a sincere effort on the part of a practitioner to change the internal consciousness. So there's a change of external, there's a change, sincere effort to change the internal. Now this is not the best, but this is better than the 3 and 4. So this is one level below the best. Best is when both have changed. There's a purification of internal consciousness. There's a change of external dress. Now this is most desirable, but if this is not achievable, at least this should be there. Number 3 is where one has changed the external dress. A sannyasi, one is wearing like a dress like a devotee, but there is no sincere effort to change internal consciousness. Now, this is most unfortunate. This is where our doubts and desires pull us down. We may externally dress like a devotee. We may externally commit to the society that we want to become devotees of Lord Krishna. We are or we are we like to study Bhagavad Gita. We like Lord Krishna. We like ISKCON. We like Bhagavatam, but we don't want to change anything in our life to improve to purify ourselves. No sincere effort to change internal consciousness, but we are reluctant and we are pushing back. We are giving a pushback for changing internal consciousness. Why? Because that requires some sacrifice, some regulation, and we don't want that. For some reason, we don't want that, and therefore, even though we theoretically may agree on the requirements of becoming a devotee, we may not practically ever do that, and hence our no sincere effort to change into our consciousness. So does not benefit much. So we generally see a lot of people that we come across, and the lot of people show a lot of interest in learning Bhagavad Gita. If you put one ad on the social media about Bhagavad Gita, you may get thousands of likes. However, they like it, but they don't proceed further. There's no sincere effort on their part to engage in the learning and understanding the Bhagavad Gita and implementing Bhagavad Gita in their life. Because they lack that effort, they even though they have positive curiosity towards Bhagavad Gita or towards God, they don't benefit much at all because they are not ready to put in the required effort. So there's no sincere effort to change internal consciousness. And the fourth is a change of external dress and continuation of old sinful ways of behavior in the disguise of external. This is number 4 is a cheating. You're using external dress to get better facilities for enjoying your innermost sensual desires. So this is cheating, and this is definitely should not be done. Gratitude. Gratitude is the feeling of being grateful or of wanting to give our thanks to somebody. कृतज्ञता या किसको धन्यवाद देने की इच्छा. I'm grateful for. We'll do an exercise towards the end of this session where we will write, why am I grateful for what? Am I grateful for what? Now, this is a section of Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, chapter 3rd chapter, 9th verse till 16th verse is what we will cover today. We have already seen some of these verses. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोयम कर्म बंधनः तद अर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संगः समाचार. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, a son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. मुक्त संग समाचार तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संग समाचार. That we discussed this, that yajna, a sacrifice is giving up something which we can lawfully, ethically, morally enjoy. However, we discuss sometimes that Ekadashi example. On the Ekadashi day, we fast from grains. So it's not that we fast because we don't feel hungry. It's not that we fast because we don't have grains in our home. uh, we don't have money to buy grains. None of those are true. Everything is available. Grains, we might be hungry. We know how to cook. We know we have grains inside our home, and we know that we have earned those by all lawful means, and morally, ethically, everything. We have all right to consume that grain, but we don't want to consume. Why? Because of Ekadashi. So there is some higher purpose which we want to achieve, but for which the lower desires are given up, even though they are even though they are very noble, just like eating food, but we don't want to do that because of the higher purpose that we want to achieve, we wish to achieve. So that is called sacrifice in general. In simple terms, it means Krishna says in the 10th verse of Bhagavad Gita that in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. Living happily and achieving liberation. Living happily, this living happily implies you're enjoying your essential pleasures in the material world. And achieving liberation is where you take a step forward in your life for searching for a purpose other than sense pleasure. Other than sense pleasure, what is it that am I
Hare
supposed to do?
Krishna, Prabhuji. It is
Yeah.
not audible at all, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji said audible.
Yes, yes, Guruji, you are audible clearly. Mataji, maybe you can check your network.
Adarshi Mataji, it's still problem. Okay. So I'm assuming it's audible now.
It
Yes,
is
Prabhuji, you are
audible.
clearly audible.
Okay. Okay.
So you're audible.
All right. Thank you. So, yeah, so we were at 10th verse. We're discussing the 10th verse, doing the recap, and we're discussing the 10th verse that are living happily and achieving liberation. Now, the both purposes exist in this world. Most people take the first part, the living happily. Living happily implies that you are trying to enjoy your senses, enjoy the sense pleasures that are available in the world. These sense pleasures, this enjoying happily, also is dependent on the demigods, because they need to supply us with ingredients for our happiness, for making our senses happy. How does that happen? That's explained in the 11th verse. The demigods, being pleased by the sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign on for all. Bhagavad Gita 3.11 translation. the, the, the the humans, even though the living entities, even though they are sent in this material world, uh, the beginning of creation, you are sent forth the generations of men and demigod along with the sacrifices for Vishnu. So you are sent to this material world. So obviously, sent implies you existed somewhere else. So you existed earlier in the spiritual world, and but because of ichha and dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata, because of ichha, because of your desires, and because of dvesha, because of your hatred towards Krishna, you don't like the concept of Krishna being the only enjoyer. Bhaktaram yajna tapasa sarvaloko maheshwara. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. You don't like that. You do not become very pleased with this. You no longer has that loving attitude towards Krishna, and you want to enjoy independently of Krishna. For these two reasons, when you develop a desire for enjoyment and develop a hatred towards Krishna, You are sent from the spiritual world to the material world, and you are sent, men and demigod. Everybody is sent, and you are supposed to. But even if you are sent on this material world, you cannot survive here on your own. For your even you have a desire for enjoyment, but this enjoyment will be possible only when demigods, who are in charge of this material world, supply you with necessary material for enjoyment. Men and women can enjoy. However, hungry men and hungry women, they will not be able to enjoy. They will be searching for food. So, if there is extreme heat, you will still not be able to enjoy. If there is extreme cold, you will still not be able to enjoy. So, you need facility for enjoyment. Even though the best looking male and best looking female bodies are sent in a region where the temperature is 50 degrees Celsius plus, and there is no food, no water, no matter how best looking they might be, they will not enjoy, because they will all be searching for food. They will all be searching to for ways and means to cool their bodies. They'll be searching for water to drink. So the enjoyment, the sensual enjoyment also depend on the facility that is available for enjoyment. At times, one will not be able to enjoy despite if the facility is not proper. So, and the facility, creating this facility is dependent on the demigods who are in charge of all these facilities. So sometimes it floods, sometimes you have extreme heat, sometimes you have tornadoes, sometimes you have all kind of all kind of issues. You can have earthquake, you can have fire, forest fire, and so on and so forth. So something or the other, the something or the other going on in the world, which puts a full stop or creates an interruption in the enjoyment. And this facility maintenance is a responsibility of the demigods. And Krishna is saying that it was expected by me. I created the sacrifices for this demigod, and I expected that with cooperation, with cosmic cooperation between man and demigod, the prosperity will reign for all. All of you will live peacefully and then attempt for liberation. That was Krishna's plan, but it doesn't happen that way. What happened? The charge of various necessities of the various charge in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna sacrifice will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gift without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So you have a desire to enjoy, and you need sufficient facility for enjoyment. Facility is provided by demigods, and you're supposed to perform yajna sacrifices for the satisfaction of those demigods. Being satisfied by the yajna sacrifice, demigod will supply you things in abundance, whatever is required at right time in right quantity, and with that you enjoy. That is the whole plan. Well, that is the plan, but it's living happily and achieve liberation. So once you start living happily, you should you should be able to transcend your thought to what to the second objective, to the second goal, that is achieving liberation. That if I'm living happily here, but eventually the unhappiness will come because my body, dukh, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, jara and vyadhi, after birth, the jara and vyadhi are old age, old age, disease and death are just coming. The moment I'm born, I start becoming old. Then I start getting some other diseases from time to time, and eventually I will die. And hence, my position is not perfect. Even though right now I might be enjoying, might be very comfortably placed, but I know for sure that this is not a permanent position. This is not a permanent fixture. We have job today. We live in a nice facility today. We are surrounded by all our loving family members today. We have a lot of bank balance today. We have nice car today. We have planned for our next 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years of our life today. All our plans are set for enjoyment for next 15, 20, 30 years. But we know for sure that uh, after that, what next? After that, I will become old. I will have a lot of food in my home. I'll not have hunger to eat. Even if I eat, I will not have digestion power to digest. So, or there will be so many restrictions that will be put upon me that even though I have all the money in the world, I'm not I'm not going to be able to eat anything, or drink anything or enjoy anything. So eventually the restrictions will come upon me. So my enjoyment is also not perpetually available to me. They are here today, gone tomorrow. So everything depends on the demigod, the supplies given by the demigods. The devotees, Krishna says further that the devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. This is again the last verse that Krishna eats, and Krishna likes you to offer it to him now. So this is a transition that what we have seen so far, that the best way to act is act for the satisfaction of Krishna, Rishikesha, the master of all senses, the Yajnarthat Karmano Anyatra. The Yajna Purush is Lord Krishna himself. The best situation is we offer and do everything for his pleasure. But that is not possible for many people. Many people will not have knowledge, will not have conviction that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore they will not be prepared to surrender to Krishna and offer everything to Krishna. So, what should they do? What should they do? They should at least offer it to various devatas who are in control of all the material affairs of this world. So that Devatas are described as the body of body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, different bodily limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so if you cannot offer it directly to the Supreme Lord, at least offer it to the Devatas. And thereby you will remain humble and maintain the attitude of gratitude. You will not get puffed up, and thereby you will continue to get your supplies on time in right quantities so that you can live happily and then inquire about what next. What next is that what's coming, the death is going to come. Why am I dying? Why am I supposed to die if I have put my life's hard work has gone in creating this beautiful home, which is filled with people who love me, bank balance which comforts me, insurance policies which assured my future, cars, beautiful fleet of cars which can take me anywhere to anywhere in nice air conditioned way, comfortable way. If I have spent lifetimes, so many years of my lifetime in creating this for me, for my enjoyment. Why should I give it up with the one moment of death? It is everything is taken away, and we start all over again from zero, from scratch. So if this is going to happen, then why am I? Uh, what? Why it is all happening like this? So the so uh, this is where uh, the role of devatas and role of supreme god becomes very very important to understand. Right? Uh, if it is going to be anyway taken away, then how much should I engage myself in creating this facility? should I not then look forward for that second objective with more seriousness? Though no matter how best facility I create, eventually it will be taken away from me. So that attaining liberation, the second goal that is given, why should I not work on it right at this current time? When everything is perfect, I should inquire about achieving liberation. Krishna says you can achieve liberation simply by offering food, everything to me, and starting with the food. That food, if you those who prepare food for themselves, they eat sin only. Whereas people, the devotees of Lord, they are released from all kind of sinful reactions because they eat food which is offered to Krishna. This brings us to the the next verse, the 3.14. Annad bhavati bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yajnad bhavati parjanya yajnah sarva sakarma samudbhavah. That all living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. So a lot of people ask that vegetarianism के बारे में कहाँ लिखा है? So one of the verse that we can quote is Annad Bhavati Bhutani, that all the living entities subsist, living bodies subsist on food grains. They subsist. Their maintenance happens by grains. Grain is our food. And how are these grains produced? Grains are produced by rains. Parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Annad bhavati bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. And how is rain produced? Yajnad bhavati parjanyas. From sacrifices, uh, the rains are produced by the sacrifice, yajna sacrifice. And yajna sacrifice is performed based on the directions given by the Vedas. Srila Prabhupada write in the purport, very, very beautiful purport, and we'll read this purport completely in detail for good understanding of this beautiful purport. Srila Bhadra Vidyabhushana, a great commentator on Bhagavad Gita, write as follows: the Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yajna Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all demigods who serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. So the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna are appointed officers who manages material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. So demigods are like limbs of body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And demigods are in charge of managing the material affairs of this universe. And they supply various necessities which are required for producing grains. So Prabhupada write further, when Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods who are different limbs of the Lord are also automatically worshipped. So it's like when you feed the stomach, your body is nourished, so is your hand nourished, so is your legs are also nourished, your fingers are also nourished, your thumb is also nourished, your nose is also nourished, your ears are also nourished. So different parts of the body don't have to feed them separately. You just supply food to your mouth and it goes into the stomach, get digested, and the whole body is nourished. Similarly, when Krishna is worshipped, the demigods who are different limbs of the Lord are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. Very, very clear statement. There is no separate need to worship the demigods. Just like there is no separate need to feed rasgulla to your hand or to leg or to your back or to your nose. You don't have to put rasgulla into your ears. You just supply it to your mouth and it goes into the stomach. It gets digested and the whole body gets nourished. So similarly, just worship Lord Krishna. Worship Lord Krishna and everyone is satisfied. No need for you to go individually to different demigods and offer prayers for their satisfaction. There's no need for us to do that. Prabhupada writes further that for this reason, the devotees of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually. What is the benefit? By such action, not only are past sinful reactions of the body are vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. Immunization is making our body remains protected from all kind of diseases that could or contaminations that are available. It's like building a shield around us, which will protection shield, which will protect us from the from the contamination, getting by us getting affected by that contamination. So this protection shield is all necessary, because without which we will remain exposed to the risk of getting contaminated when we witness contamination. And this is important because when we function and we don't live with the pure devotees of Lord, we work with people who many of them could be non-devotees. We They may have habits and practices which are completely anti-devotional. They may all bring meat. They may all talk about women all the time. They may all talk about movies and sports and politics and economics and share market all the time. They may all talk speak vulgar jokes. They may crack vulgar jokes all the time. They may say things, do things. Or the whole of their meditation could be on doing things which are anti-devotional in nature. And hence, if we are going to be surrounded by people like this, which we at times cannot avoid, we could be student going to college, might be surrounded by all students who are like this. We might be a working professional, might be going to office where people generally sit and do in all their free time. This is what they will talk about at the first available opportunity. They will do something like this. They will talk about something like stupid like this, which is distracting for a devotee. So the contamination is available everywhere. And unless we protect ourselves, we build a shield around us, we carry that shield everywhere we go, we are in all likelihood get contaminated by the people. Because when there is an epidemic disease, if so, even if you have taken an antiseptic an antiseptic medicine or a preventive medicine, even if you have already taken that, there exists a chance of you also getting affected because of this epidemic disease. So Prabhupada gives the similar example in the next paragraph. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protect a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken by us make us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. Therefore, person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna, he can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments means which are stumbling block to the progress of self-realization. So many important points Prabhupada brings up in this particular purport, this particular paragraph, and highlights the need to eat prasad, Krishna prasad. Whatever you might be eating, offer it to Krishna and eat. In every condition offer, in every situation offer. Don't eat food which is unofferable. Don't eat meat. Don't even eat food with onion garlic. So offering is the principle. And why offer? Because of Krishna's mercy only we are getting it. Just as an acknowledgement, at least we should offer. if not out of love, the devotees will offer it out of love. But initial state, at least as an acknowledgement that without your mercy, we would not have got what we have got. At least with that attitude, offer. So offering is extremely important. Prabhupada writes further that on the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful actions. And this prepares the next body to resemble hog and dog, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. So Prabhupada writes that what is the situation of those who eat food without offering to Krishna? They are creating their new bodies resembling to hog and dog. Hog is pig and dog is dog. To suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, or food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetable are factually eatable. Prabhupada reiterate the point made by Lord Krishna that what is eatable? Food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human beings eat different kind of food grains, vegetable, fruit, etc. And the animal eat the refuse of the food grain, vegetable, grass, and plant, etc. So both have their share, and both depends on the vegetation only. The human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. So animals also, so even if you are the worst case scenario, you are attached to the eating of flesh or the meat, you will only eat meat of those animals who are surviving on grains only. So again, for animals you need to feed those animals so that they become big, feed so much that they become big and healthy and heavy, so that they can be killed and fed into the human being. So again, it's a lose-lose proposition, because the amount of food that vegetation that animals have to eat in order for them to become big so that their flesh can be fed to the humans, that itself can feed so many vegetarian people. And so so economically also it just doesn't make sense to eat flesh. Prabhat, right? Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field and not on the production in the big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, Sun, Moon, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Prabhupada writes that you need ultimately grains, you need food grains, and you cannot produce those food grains in big factory. You have to go to the field, and you have to depend on the rains, you have to depend on the mother nature and all the demigods to supply right things in right time, so that a grain can grow and is available for human consumption. And that's how there is a complete dependency on the nature and the demigods. Nature and demigods are different limbs of the body of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, ultimately, you are dependent on Supreme Lord. The field. So yajna, specifically the Sankirtan yajna, is prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from the scarcity of the food supply. So Sankirtan Yajna should be performed, and being satisfied by this, the Lord, the Supreme Lord will ensure that everything is supplied in right quantity and right quality for our subsistence. कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवम विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षर समुद्भवम तस्मात् सर्वगतम ब्रह्म नित्यम यज्ञ प्रतिष्ठितम. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all pervading transcendence is eternally situated in the act of sacrifice. What are we talking? We're talking about yajna sacrifice. Yajna sacrifice offered to Supreme Lord, or if you don't want to do it to Supreme Lord, at least offer it to the Devtas. But because of this will lead to the rains. Rain will lead to the grains. Grains will ensure subsistence of living entities. And that will happen, then they will have to uh, perform the duties prescribed in the Vedas. Karma as prescribed in the Vedas. And the karma will ask you to perform yajna again. And yajna will, this is how the cycle will continue. How do we get convinced that we are dependent, and there are indeed, um, there is a hand, which is responsible for whatever is happening in the world. There is a unseen hand which is responsible for doing things. So if you watch, this snooker or billiards, whatever you want to call it, if you watch this particular game from this angle, place a camera on overhead of this table, and if from this view, when you watch this particular game being played, uh, you will see that this white ball getting hit is being hit to various other balls, and some of these balls then disappear into different holes. Now, if you ask how it's happening, there can be one explanation given using laws of physics, that this particular ball. So how it can be explained? It can be explained that this stick is used to hit this white ball in a particular speed. That speed can be measured, the force can be measured, the force at which the stick is hitting this white ball, and the velocity is generated. With that, white ball hit some of these balls, and in a particular angle, that angle can be calculated, and with that impact, the color ball is pushed towards a particular hole at a particular speed. The impact, the push from the stick to the white ball, then the white ball hitting one of these color ball, and then the color ball proceeding towards the hole. Now, all of these can be calculated using laws of physics, and a detailed explanation can be given that why this particular ball went to this hole. Now, that is valid explanation. A valid explanation, as far as whatever we see and whatever we can observe and whatever we can calculate, that is concerned, it is a valid explanation. But it is not complete explanation. Why it's not complete? Because we have not considered the importance of hands holding this particular stick. So these sticks don't move on their own. So there is a hand which comes from the above, which holds the stick. Now this hand has a desire to hit this particular ball in this particular hill, and that hand also possesses necessary skills to do that. So there is a desire and there is an empowerment. Both are there. And with that, when I when I'm take the position and hit this white ball at a particular speed and in a particular angle on this one of the color ball, this color ball goes into the hole. So even though the first explanation was correct, the second explanation brings completeness to this theory. Now there is a hand, and that hand possessed by is by a person who has a desire to hit this ball into hole, and he has necessary skills to do so. And then he apply his skill and generate that angle at a particular speed so that the color ball goes into the hole. Now this is a complete explanation. At times those hands may be visible, may not be visible. But we should know for certain that nothing in this material world happens on its on a, automatically. Sometimes things may be visible, sometimes they may not be visible, but nevertheless there is always a hand present when some action is happening. So, so this, this is the complete explanation that we can have of this particular game. Let us extrapolate this to a water cycle. We discussed in one of the previous classes that how water cycle exists. There is a there is water stored in the ocean, and because they should not get decomposed, it's salted, and then the sun is deployed overhead to evaporate for heating the water of ocean, boiling it and making it, evaporating it into vapor. That vapor plus dust become cloud. That cloud are like floating water tanks, which can be transported for thousands of miles without any cost. Leak-proof floating water tanks. Even if aeroplanes go through those clouds, they don't get leaked. It does not create a problem. Neither the aeroplane gets wet nor the cloud gets leaked and drop all the water that it's holding. So leak-proof floating water tank which can be transported for thousands of miles. That's what the clouds are. Now this water is also not deposited on the earth at one go. Some of it is deposited by rain, and some of it is deposited on the top of mountains by way of ice, so that they melt throughout the year and supply water throughout the year to the people. So when we see something like this, when we discussed this in one of our previous class at how this water again come back to the ocean and this cycle continues. So a system which looks as perfect as this, um, how should we then assume that there are no hands? We may give a great explanation for this, how this system works. And scientists would have done a great job in finding out and explaining to us how this water cycle works. But we cannot ignore and deny the existence of God, who is in control of this nature. Just like in the previous slide, we cannot deny and the existence and the existence of the two hands who has a desire and the necessary skills to hit the ball. The physics explanation is not complete, not sufficient. When you add to that the personal explanation that about a person who has a desire and who has the necessary skills to hit the ball, and when using his hand, when he apply the force, the physics explanation comes good. But so, and then that makes the whole explanation correct. Similarly, by just explaining how things happen in the material world, the scientists have done great job, but that's not complete job, because there is something else which they are not seeing and they are not explaining, which brings clarity to the whole picture, to the whole scene. Similarly, the water cycle, no matter how good, how well we may understand and explain it, but we need to understand that this is also controlled by the Supreme Lord. There are demigods who are in charge of this affair, and under their supervision, under their desire, and under their expert supervision, everything is happening. So human must either please these demigods or their ultimate master, Supreme Lord Krishna, in order to continue to enjoy these facilities without interruption. So this is the recommended uh, this is the recommendation that Lord Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. uh, First is awareness and second is recommendation. How you should always maintain an attitude of gratitude towards these demigods. If not demigod, it is best if you can have it towards Lord Krishna himself, who is the master of all these demigods. But if not, at least have it towards those demigods, towards these devatas, and being satisfied by your sacrifice, yajna sacrifice, they will supply you whatever you need in right quantity and right quality and right time. So that your desire to live happily can be fulfilled. A recommended form of yajna for Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan Yajna, must be performed by humans if they wish to survive and continue to enjoy. The concept of God, we have to some stage we have to recognize the concept of God. We have to understand that God's existence exists, and let's find out at various stages in our life. When we were small baby, we used to cry for everything, and the moment we used to cry, we used to get attention from everyone, from mother, father, and everyone, and we thought maybe that's the way. Maybe I'm the center of this whole universe. Maybe the whole universe exists for my satisfaction only. The moment I cry, the whole world stops and everyone come running to me. Later, this baby may realize that maybe I'm not the center of this universe. There are other life family members who can have priority over me sometimes. Sometimes me crying does not always get me the attention that I need. Sometimes I cry and then someone else also is crying, and people often go and attend that other person and not me. So eventually, I may discover that I'm not the center of attention. Center of attention can be somebody else. Life, in life, we may not get all that what we want, and the fruits are not only dependent on our efforts but also on the sanction of Krishna. So at times, once that initial phase go away, we start learning that life is tough. When we were a small baby, we were getting practically whatever we wanted. But as life progresses, I'm taught how to take no for an answer. I'm given no for an answer also. Many times I'm said no. I want this, and I was told no, not now, maybe later, or no at all, complete no, no way. So at times, from this moment onwards, the life is now becoming tough because I cannot satisfy all my desires. Um, People have different priorities. I may not be the center of universe for them anymore, and there I need to learn. I'm forced to learn to make compromises. I'm forced to bring some regulation into my life. I'm not allowed to do things the way I want. Now I'm becoming more and more dependent on others. So the cycle of sacrifice is where we realize our dependence on the nature for survival, and that make us bow down helplessly. Um, so this is where we this is where we understand that we are not in complete control of our life, and not we are also not the center of the whole creation. People will have different priorities, and we will not get what we want always. And this will become further evident as we progress in our life, that we will see that more and more we are dependent on nature for survival, and we are made to bow down helplessly. When we see the extreme brutal force of nature, um, at times we feel extremely powerless in front of this. The flood, earthquake, tsunami, drought make us very, very humble, make us ask question that why it's happening, and how can I correct this. So and it forces us to inquire that apparently I'm not in control, and none of my father is not in control, my mother is not in control, none of the family members I know are in control, my corporator is not in control of the world, my MPs and my prime minister is not in control of this world universe, my president of India is also not in control of this world, president of America is also not in control, president of United Nations is also not in control. Nobody is in control. If nobody is in control, then who is in control? Because still, I can see things happening with some purpose. It just doesn't happen by accident. And somebody is creating havoc in our life, and we are supposed to tolerate, which means someone is in control, and I need to figure out who that person is and harmonize my activities with them, offer them respect, and that's how um, I start my inquiry for God. If my president of America is also helpless, and he can't do much when tsunami comes, he just has to ask his people to tolerate. If the most powerful person in the most powerful country on this planet, when they become helpless, then what is it that is really making them helpless? Who is making them helpless? Then who is in control? Who is in power? Who is been exercising their powers here? And this is our inquiry towards searching of God. This is what brings us to the concept of God. Apart from God being order supplier, uh, which is in general people think about God as an order supplier, that santata sampata sabahi bharapuro pave. I want santata and sampata. Santata means I want progeny, I want to have children. For that, I want nice wife, and sampati. Sampati is opulence. So I want nice wife, nice enjoyment, nice children, nice family, and lot of money to enjoy. संतत संपत सब ही भरपूर हो पावे. भरपूर चाहिए, बहुत चाहिए. So this is generally what people think of God. But a lot of people think of God, or they inquire about the concept of God out of curiosity, out of his just brutal power that they see that the God seems to possess, and they don't have it. God has it. We don't have it, and out of um, sheer awe and reverence with which they approach God, they can approach God. So, what is our reason for searching for God? What is it that triggered inside us that forced us to look up for God? It could have happened at different time in our life. This is not a activity. You don't have to raise hand, but this is something that we can think about as we conclude this session. And if you can send me a message, uh, typing on WhatsApp, why you think, what do you think about these two topics? In general, when you hear people talk about God, what is their conception of? And what about you? What is your conception of God? Why did you become curious to know about God? Was it a brutal force of nature that has that has awakened your God consciousness, or was it the dependence that you realize at some stage in your life that you have on this unknown person in your life who controls your life? What is it in God that made you curious to inquire about him and to study Bhagavad Gita? So this is again, it's a nice activity. It's a look back. It's a taking a stock of our emotions, and of our feelings, our thoughts, just gathering all our thoughts and putting them together at one place, in one pager, kind of a document, or one message kind of document, so that we become clear about God. When I speak with many people and I ask sometimes this question, that what is your conception of God? And a lot of people have different answers. Many of them actually take a big pause. They say that we have not thought about it properly, ever. Up till now, whenever I see a temple, I fold my hand, and I generally been try to be pious. Generally try to be follow all the rules and regulations. Whatever has been told by my family is practiced by my family members, etc. But I tried not to harm people. I try to be a nice person as much as I can. But I don't know about God. I have not really thought about the concept of God. My reason for searching for God. And so this is a good exercise that we can do later. But it's important to do this, because you will realize, you may come to know about many unknown things about you, many thoughts that might cross your mind which were not really visible to you, and you will learn a lot about yourself, when you do this kind of an exercise. So please do this. I'll circulate these two questions after the class. So take time out, maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, depending on how deep you can go in thinking about your reason for searching for. Cycle of sacrifice. Fear, desire, duty, and love are the four moods in which we may look up for God. In the first three, desire, fear, desire, duty, people are respectful towards Krishna. They are respectful towards what God gives us. Here we are worshipping Krishna for his greatness. When we approach God in love, we like him for what he is without worrying about what he gives. The story of Sudama Brahmana and the fruit seller vendor in Vrindavan, Mathura, where they both became extremely delighted. Sudama became very happy. He didn't even ask Krishna. He came to Dwarika asking Krishna for some help. But during this entire meeting, he never opened his mouth for that. He never asked Krishna for anything. And his heart was filled with happiness just by meeting Krishna. And when he reached home, he realized that Krishna has already given him what he wanted. Whatever the desire that he had in his heart, Krishna, being present there, has already been aware of it, and he has already fulfilled it. But Sudama became happy not by seeing his palace. Sudama was happy simply by meeting Krishna. Similarly, the fruit seller vendor, fruit seller lady, gave Krishna all the fruits that she was carrying. And in return, Krishna gave her 2-3 grains of rice that he brought from the inside. It was nothing, nothing in compared to the fruits that he got. But fruit seller vendor was so delighted, so happy, that she asked Krishna to sit on her lap and say Maya, call her Maya once. And then Krishna did so. Krishna did so, and then he quickly got up and ran away inside the home. And this fruit seller vendor, having experienced Krishna, having seen Krishna face to face, having touched Krishna, when he sat on her lap, having experienced the touch from Krishna, she was already in bliss. and she was singing Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. She was already drowning in the ocean of bliss. Uh, and her exchange was, commercial point of view, it was useless, it was futile. She just took 2 3 grains of rice and gave away all her fruits. So it was a bad commercial deal, but she was completely happy. And when she approached Yamuna, she felt her tokri to be heavy, and then she found her tokri was filled with jewels, which she threw away in Yamuna. She didn't need it. So when we approach God in love, we like him for who he is. Not We don't care about what he gives us or what he do for us. For what we love him for who he is. Krishna, the Brajavasis loved Krishna for what who he is, who he was, not because he was protecting them from various monsters. That was not that was subsidiary. That was a side job. That was not so important job uh, from Krishna from their point of view. But they love Krishna for who he is. So when we approach God in love, we like him for what he is without worrying about what he gives. Here we are appreciating his sweetness. So there is greatness and there is sweetness that Krishna possesses. Progression is possible through devotional service by hearing and chanting. From hearing and chanting, from greatness to sweetness, we can come to the second stage also if we continue to hear and chant regularly. Durvasa Muni was he approached Krishna by fear of Sudarshan Chakra. Dhruva Maharaj approached Krishna for want of some opulence. So a desire. He wanted a kingdom bigger than that of his father. And when Lord touched his head with conch shell, his heart was transformed, and then he chanted beautiful prayers for glorifying the Lord, and said that uh, broken, I was searching for broken pieces of broken glass, and when I had a diamond in my possession, I didn't realize it. So he was very apologetic to Lord for desiring this kingdom, as to come to the forest asking for the kingdom, for asking for kingdom. So that was a desire, but got purified immediately. Duty, when praying, we don't give God instructions, just report for duty. Having known that how Krishna is great, how much he is doing for us, we may approach Krishna out of duty. And last and best is love, approaching Krishna with love. So that is also, so there are 4 different ways uh, in which we can approach Krishna. Otherwise, our life is wasted. Life lived for the pleasure of Indriya is a waste. Krishna will speak this beautiful verse, Evam pravartitam chakram na anuvartiya na nanuvartiya tihayah aghayur indriya aramo mogham partha sa jivati. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the Mammonist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification, that work hard, party harder. That's the philosophy of many people. Prabhupada is writing that this philosophy is condemned herein by the Lord. Therefore, for those who want to enjoy this material world, the above mentioned cycle of performing yajna is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specially specifically meant for self-realization in either of the three ways, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performance of prescribed yajnas for the transcendentalist who are above the vice and virtue. But those are who are engaged in the sense gratification requires purification by the above mentioned cycle of yajna performances. Those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that the sensory conscious person may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends not on our own effort, but on the background arrangements of the Supreme Lord directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigod mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness because when one masters the performance of yajna, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. To summarize, sacrifice is must for humans to live happily. Sacrifice is must for humans to live happily. Attitude of gratitude and actually performing sacrifices is necessary. Um, Sacrifice to the supreme. So if you think about it, a lot of people come to spirituality or they are religionist. They follow some kind of religion. They visit temple. They make they perform some upavas. They keep some vrata. They go to visit holy dham. They also at times perform some austerities like walking for 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers to a temple from home bare feet and all of that. So they did and they give regular charity for various spiritual the religious purposes and all of this. However, we see that their lives are not transforming. Their lives might be pious, there might be some piety in their life, but in general they're just living life like others. There's no transformation of heart that is witnessed. There's no transformation of internal consciousness that can be seen. Their anarthas don't go away. Their habits remain as they are. So in general, apparently, there's not much progress is visible by such people, for such people, because sometimes they are refusing to make the necessary sacrifices because they don't want to perform sacrifices, and they are somehow resisting performance of sacrifice, and therefore they remain stuck at one place. It's like licking honey bottle from the outside. No matter how hard you lick, you are not able to taste the taste of honey. Why? Because you are outside. And coming inside requires some sacrifice. Just like some sacrifices are required to attain our professional degrees, whatever they might be, to become engineer, to become doctor, to become chartered accountant, to become a master architect. So there are sacrifices involved. You need to visit institute, you need to register with an institute, you need to attend classes, you need to attend workshops and then appear for exam. And then, so there is a sacrifice, there's a defined process by which I can become a chartered accountant or an engineer or an MBBS, MD doctor. But if one refuses to perform these sacrifices and one wants to do things as per own whims and fancies, they may never be able to become one. So, similarly, in devotional life also, It's important that we perform sacrifices prescribed, and because of those sacrifices only, we can progress on the path of bhakti. And if you are if you are resisting, not wholeheartedly accepting the sacrifices, performance of these sacrifices, um, Shravanam Kirtanam is Sankirtan Yajna. um, Hearing Krishna Katha, by sacrificing time which we could have otherwise utilized for watching budget, is a sacrifice. You will get to see and hear all the updates that have happened in the budget. But one Bhagavad Gita class can change your life, can make you more committed in performance of bhakti. So you never know from where your inspiration will come. And therefore, uh, this sacrifice is worth it. So the sacrifice to this for the Supreme Lord Krishna should be made. So one is saved from the multiple offerings to the temple. So instead of making one sacrifice for the different limbs of our body, you just supply food to the stomach. And stomach, everything will get digested and all parts of your body are nourished. Similarly, when you offer to Krishna, everyone gets satisfied. And and that's how one should be intelligent. One should be intelligent enough to know what to do in life, how to act in life. And chanting, hearing are recommended types of sacrifices in the Kali Yuga. Hence, one must start chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for developing love for Krishna. This is goal of human life. Developing love for Krishna is goal of human life. मनुष्य जन्म पाइया राधा कृष्ण ना भजिया जानिया शुनिया विष खाइनु. That it's like eating poison. Janiya shunya means knowingly eating poison. It's like this, that Radha Krishna na Manusya Janama Paiya Radha Krishna na bhajila. Having got human form of life, if you don't worship Radha Krishna, then it's like as good as no matter how many years you live for, it's like your soul is killed already. Your life is over, finished, because you're wasted your life. Aghayur indriya aramo mogham parthasa jivati. That only when those who live only for the purpose, only for the satisfaction of your senses, their life is lived in vain, or it's a wasted life completely. Last slide, Krishna is speaking about the yoga ladders. That yajnarthat karmanonyatra. That this is bhakti yoga. Perform everything to Krishna. If that is not possible, at least offer it to, for the pleasure of demigods. At least perform karma kand. Karma kand. There's the animal life, the express elevator. There's a progressive yoga and extended yoga. The progressive yoga ladder, at the bottom we have animal life, but above animal life is karma kand. Karma kand is performing yajna for better enjoyment, for getting better enjoyable experiences in life. You perform yajna for enjoyment. Your goal is not love for Krishna. Your goal is love for enjoyment, sense pleasures. But you want to do it in legal way. So you're performing yajna, performing austerities, performing penances for getting superior quality and quantity of sense enjoyment, sense pleasures. So this is karma kanda section. So anything below this is animal. Even if you are a human, if you are not performing basic yajna, even at least for sense pleasure also, but if you're not recognizing the concept of God, you're not offering it to the God, offering all your actions for the pleasure of the God, then you're, even if you are a human, you are living like a animal. So that's animal life. So karma kanda is where human touch comes. So human life begins from the karma kanda level, from the recognition of some higher power in our life, from the recognition that God exists and He's operating, He's functioning in my life, He's playing a role in my life. So, so that is how we begin. Then comes Sakama Karma Yoga. That I have desire, but I will perform Karma Yoga. Karma kanda is purely focus on the sense gratification. Karma, Sakam Karma Yoga is better than that. Nishkam Karma Yoga is even better than that. And Sadhana Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti. So this is a gradual progression of a devotee coming from animal world to human life, human form of life. When they get, at least they start offering, they start taking shelter of Supreme Lord or at least some of his demigods for getting what they are getting, for whatever they want in life for sense in pleasure. So Karma Kanda section is where the human life begins. At least we should be at that level. In our life, whatever we would have got by now, we should do this as an exercise as well. That make a list of uh, what you are grateful for. Having understood who is in control, who has control over our life, having understood that how much uh, how much dependent we are on the mercy shown by God and demigods, how much powerless we are in front of the brutal forces of the nature, how much helpless we are in front of all of this. One may develop a heart of gratitude. One may develop gratitude in their heart, and it's good to have that because then you can write it down and take a look at that list of gratitude that you should have in front of you always, uh, so that you don't become arrogant, you don't become puffed up at any given point of time. You always realize that you are being controlled. You are under somebody else's control. There is a master for you. And the best situation is when you surrender yourself to that supreme master and you recognize your true position of being a servant of the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. That is the best situation to get situated and act. But unless we reach there with conviction, uh, at least we should know what we are grateful for, the things for which we should be grateful, and to whom we are expressing our gratitude towards. So make a list and feel free to share that list with us, with me on the WhatsApp along with those couple of questions. I'll send them in a single slide so that all of you can have it, and then we can discuss those. I can respond to some of those answers as by way of a reply. Yes, Anjali Mataji, you have a question? Oh. Anjali Mataji, you have a question? You have raised hand. Yes, Rohan or Sita Mataji, you
Hare
have.
Krishna, Prabhu ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, please.
Yes, Prabhu ji, you discussed something about our appearance. How do we appear? If we have appearance of Kanthi and Tilak, we recognize that we are Krishna's follower and we have to behave in certain way. But Prabhu ji, I had a question that now so that my exams are completed, me and my friends were deciding to meet somewhere and go somewhere to uh, like कहीं घूमने जाने का डिसाइड करे थे प्रभु जी. So should I wear tilak while going with them or should I not wear? Because in daily college I do wear tilak, but for going somewhere else, as we all would be enjoying, so should I wear tilak or not?
So should a police officer go on duty wearing uniform or not uniform? So if you are wearing a tilak, you will obviously you want to enjoy, which is natural. It's given that your age and given the time. But those you will still not want to do certain things, and that tilak will remind you of that. So you should wear a tilak and go. There's no harm. Okay.
Yes,
Tilak, kantimala, those will serve you as a reminder from not doing certain things in public, at least.
yes,
Because
Prabhuji.
you will be, there will always be a consciousness that I should not be doing this. Even if your friends might be doing it, you can, it will be very easy for you to stay away from those things. Okay.
Yes, thank you,
Feel
Prabhuji.
free to wear tilak, no problem. Yes, Anjani Mataji, I think I see your hands raised again. You have a question, Mataji? Hmm. Not sure if you're not able to
Can
unmute.
you hear me?
Yes, Mataji. I can, yeah. You
Thank you,
can
sir.
do it.
In the next session, can you explain why you have written Jnana Yoga means no work? What is no
Jnana
work?
Yoga.
In the brackets, you put no work. In
Okay.
that progressive extended ladder.
Okay. Okay. So Gyanis having realized that they are souls and this world is temporary, try to withdraw from the world. They say that work is binding. And if you, with the Gyanis, try to go away from the duties of they feel that if they work in this world, that will cause them bondage. Therefore, they are fearful of doing work only.
Is that good or bad?
Sorry.
Is that good or bad?
Um, the Krishna says in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita that you cannot there cannot be a stage without sufficient purification of your mind. You cannot become desireless. So artificially withdrawing in a premature way will cause you problems. So therefore, one should not artificially try to withdraw. Sufficient with having sufficient. Who can become nishkam? Nishkam is the one who is desireless. Who can become? Prabhupada writes that only a devotee can become nishkam. Why? Because he has having taken up to the Krishna consciousness, he is giving up all his desires for sense gratification. So, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. There's a verse, beautiful verse that comes in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. The one who has not no lamentation and no desire. Now that stage, and then such a person can start performing bhakti. But Prabhupada writes that by bhakti only that stage can come. Artificially, nobody can become desireless. And hence, Gyanis who think that the karma will bind them. And because with that mindset, when they try to run away from activities, their endeavors may fail because they have not purified their mind sufficiently. When you get higher taste, your desire for lower taste go away. So devotees, when they say they become desireless, they become they have no desires left at a material level. They are happy in whatever conditions their Lord may put them into. But they have spiritual desires. They have desires to please Krishna. So that way, in theory, nobody can practically become desireless, but you can become desireless in terms of material desires. And that is possible only for devotees to become material desireless. But Gyanis, if I withdraw thinking that my work will bind me and therefore I should not work, I may land up myself into another problem because my in my heart my sufficient purification has not happened. And my mind may still dwell on those sense objects. I may still have the taste for those sense objects. But now I'm becoming fearful because of my knowledge that these actions might bind me. and therefore I am trying to withdraw. So Prabhupada says that one need not try to do that. It's better to remain engaged in performance of your duties rather than withdrawing artificially. And slowly through purification process, you will progress towards bhakti yoga, and then the desire for sensual pleasures will anyway go away. The craving itself will go away, and then you don't have to artificially withdraw as you are trying to do right now.
So is it only by examining our own consciences that we come to know what stage we have reached?
Yes, examining by our own consciousness where we are. It's important to see where we started from, how we came to the process of God, how we became God conscious, how we became curious about God as a concept, and then how we progressed, what all we did in our individual journey, and where we have come for, how long we have traveled, and where we stand today. So it's a kind of a stock taking or looking backwards, kind of a taking stock of our journey so far, and then that help us chalk out the way forward for the future.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll conclude today's session. Thank you everyone for joining today. I hope the 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 pronunciation tips shared at the beginning were helpful. I'll also share separate recording for that, and you all can keep revisiting that, and practicing it. It's not very simple. Those who can read Devanagari script, they're very fortunate. They can continue to do so. But those who may struggle for reading Devanagari and they want help to read English to pronounce Sanskrit, they may go through the recording which I may send at the end of this class again and again, 2-3 times, so that you can master this art of chanting verses. And in our next Bhagavad Gita reading sessions, all of you can volunteer to read chapters, and that will be very nice. We can then do this more repeatedly. Thank you everyone for joining today. We'll continue with our journey of studying Bhagavad Gita in a systematic way next Sunday. Until then, have a great Krishna conscious week ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Dandavat
Dandavat
pranam.
Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhuji,
Thank you so
Dandavat
much.
Pranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Prabhuji,
Dandavat
Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.